Hello, this is Dr. Darnise. Welcome back into my series on Hoodoo during this Hoodoo Heritage Month in October. I wanted to come back on picking up on a theme that I talked about in the last video. Hope you saw that. If not, it will be linked. The question that I left you with was, what is the difference between medicine and poison? What is the difference between medicine and poison, especially when you're talking about these magical traditions like we talk about? Well, the only difference between medicine and poison is the dose. Think about that. When you go to the drugstore and you buy something for your cold, doesn't it say on that box, do not exceed a certain amount in a 24-hour period? Doesn't it give you a dose that is supposed to help you? Take 2 every 4 hours. Do not exceed 12 in 24 hours. Why? Because medicine becomes poison, becomes toxic, right? So, in our understanding of how hoodoo works, understand this, that our ancestors knew the difference between medicine and poison. They knew that if I use this tincture, if I use this potion, if I use these particular herbs, it can either help me with my medical problems, with my aches and pains. I can make an ointment, or maybe somebody has chronic headaches, they have digestive problems, whatever it is. There's a root for it. There's a herb for it. And they knew how. When they came over here as African people, they understood the world is alive with God's power. All the plants, all the whole planet has Ashe, the power of God. And so we can be used for our benefit, right? And part of the benefit is our protection. So while I might take one dose as a medicine, as a help, there may come a time when I need to use the flip side of medicine, which is the poison. Why would I need to use poison? For my protection. This is why people are sometimes afraid of these traditions, because they'll say, well, somebody put roots on me. And that is a possibility, right? But these things depend upon your own intention. What are you out here trying to do? Like, are you just out here trying to poison someone, or is it a matter of protection and saying, I got to run somebody off of me? I have to keep somebody from trying to harm me. Therefore, I will take what was a healthy dose, and now I will create another dose, an extra dose for that person to experience something to their detriment for my protection. Again, hoodoo is a practical spirituality. It meant that our ancestors had specific need, immediate, urgent need, and they looked around their environment and understanding God has given us all these things to use, and they are good, right? The plants, the herbs of the earth are good. Okay, so how do I use this to alleviate my particular problem? Even something like fertility problems. People had fertility problems back then. What if you wanted to have a baby and couldn't? Or what if you didn't want to have no more babies? Now, a lot of us, from back in the day, your grandparents, your great grandparents, they had a lot of kids. They were on the farm and down south, and they had a lot of kids, and that was helpful when you had a farm to run. But after a while, after grandma, great grandma has had 7 babies, 10 babies, you gotta cut that off, right? And my grandmother told me a story. My grandmother had 7 down in Georgia, where I am now. My grandmother had 7, and after that, no more. So, what do? Who do you go to? You go to the conjure doctor, right? You go to the women who know what herbs to use to prevent this or to encourage that. So, hoodoo is a practical kind of spirituality. And go and watch the other video that I just did, right? I said I'm going to do a series of these hoodoo themed videos because this is Hoodoo Heritage Month. So I wanted to also talk about our use of Christianity. And so a couple things, and I said I'm going to put the link to different resources down in the description box. I'm looking for something right now. the Hoodoo Tarot, but I was looking for my actual Hoodoo Tarot deck. So this is the Hoodoo Tarot workbook. If you might already have the Hoodoo Tarot deck. This is from Tiana Lee McQuiller. Again, the resources will be in the description box. But in particular, I want to talk about Bishop C.H. Mason. This is one of the tarot cards from the Hoodoo Tarot deck. Now, if you are familiar with the Rider-Waite deck, then you're familiar with the Hierophant, one of the major arcana, the Hierophant. So in the Hoodoo Tarot deck, Bishop C.H. Mason is the person used for the Hierophant. The Hierophant is an authority figure in the tarot deck. The Hierophant is an authority figure. So when you draw the Hierophant card, it suggests that there's something authoritative, an institution, some type of institutional power is showing up in your life. And so in a reading, that can look like, a company you work for, a university, a church. So a Hierophant is really like giving official authority, an official stamp of approval to something. So why is Bishop C.H. Mason the person associated with the Hierophant? It is because Bishop C.H. Mason, and some of y'all good Pentecostals already know this. Some of y'all Pentecostals already know this because Bishop C.H. Mason is the founder of the Kojic denomination. Y'all good Kojic people, put Kojic in the description, in the comments. Church of God in Christ Pentecostals, the largest Black Pentecostal denomination, I guess, in the world. Bishop C.H. Mason is the founder of the Church of God in Christ. Coming out, and Bishop C.H. Mason, I just want to say, I got another resource for you, comes out of Memphis, Tennessee. Why is that important? Here's another resource for you. Now, I haven't even fully read this book yet. I keep looking at it, kind of just looking at it. I haven't read it all the way through yet. This book is A Secret History of Memphis Hoodoo, Root Workers, Conjurers, and Spirituals. The Secret History of Memphis Hoodoo, Root Workers, Conjurers, and Spirituals. Now, a lot of attention is given to hoodoo in places like Georgia, Louisiana. Oftentimes, people don't really talk about the Memphis location, right? Again, what does this have to do with Bishop C.H. Mason? Because what if he's considered to be the founder of the Pentecostals? That's like traditional Christianity. Well, rumor has it that Bishop Mason was a conjure man. Bishop Mason was understood to be a conjure man. And this picture that Tiana McQuiller has used is a noted picture of him. You might not be able to see it that well, with various roots and herbs on the table in front of him. And so one of the things hoodoo people would use is if you're out in nature and you see some type of root that looks unusual, if you come across something that's unusual in nature, a lot of conjure people will collect that and say, you know what, there's something about that. I'm going to bring that home and put that on my altar or put that in a jar because there's something about that. So Bishop C.H. Mason, who would later go on to be the founder of Church of God in Christ Pentecostals, comes from a tradition of hoodoo and conjure root work. And again, this is why I always would tell my students in college, there's no such thing as pure religion where it's like, oh, if you're a good Christian, you only do one thing, right? Or if you practice African traditional religion, you only do one thing. It's a mishmash. We always mix religion and culture. That's how religion continues on because people mix religion and culture, right? Think about the music that people sing. Think about the artwork that people have in their churches, right? Imagine that you go to a Russian Orthodox church, a Greek Orthodox church. What's it going to be like? It's going to be flavored with those people's culture, with their iconography, their pictures, their food later. Maybe the service is going to be in Russian or in Greek. We always mix together religion and culture. That's why religion survives, because we have to keep it relevant to people. So now it's controversial because many Pentecostals or Christians in particular will say, they keep showing that picture of Bishop Mason and making him out to be a conjurer, but he wasn't. Well, apparently he was at least familiar with root work and conjure. And so I show this book here, and I've had this book for a while, y'all, but I had so many books. The Secret History of Memphis Hoodoo, because if he comes from this region, he probably was at least familiar. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with it is only what the external religion would tell you is wrong with it. Oh, you can't do that. You can't mess with that. That's not of God. Well, Bishop C.H. Mason, in his embodiment, really demonstrates that yes, you can do multiple things at once. And our ancestors did that. Here in the New World, in the American South, they mixed together a lot of things because they were African-based people, coming with an African worldview, an African spirituality, understanding that the world is alive with African Ashe, the power of God, right? So this image of C.H. Mason, Bishop C.H. Mason, it's just the epitome of the way Black people do religion. We're going to mix it together. Okay, so there's something I want to read to you from this book too. Couple of things. One is like a ritual or what a hoodoo man was giving as a lesson here. Now remember in the last video I talked about how Black people use the Psalms, the book of Psalms, as a grimoire, as a magical book. So this is just a little exchange between a woman who was seeking help and a conjure doctor she ran into. Okay, she says to him, "It's my family." The doctor crosses his legs as he interlaces his fingers across his stomach. "It's my family. We're suffering. I lost my job. My husband left, and my mom is real sick. We going hungry, and I don't think we can make it much longer." And the old man, the doctor, closes his eyes and begins to nod his head. "What you need is the saints' help. You need a hand to help you get some good luck. You need some blessings." And the old man walks over to the table and opens the Bible. "What I want you to do is read the 21st Psalm. While you're doing this, I want you to light a candle and pray to Saint Expedite. Ask him to bring you good things, good luck, good health, and good life." The young girl nods as she listens. Right? So, and somewhere on this channel, I made a video some years ago about Saint Expedite. You can either look on my channel for it, or you can just Google Saint Expedite. That is a Catholic saint associated with immediate help. If you need something immediately, you call upon Saint Expedite. So now remember I said hoodoo is about immediate need. Looking in your environment for how you're going to get some relief. And she says, "It's my family. We're suffering. I lost my job. My husband left, and my mama is real sick. We going hungry, and I don't think we can make it much longer." She has an immediate need, right? And so the old man walks toward a table in the center of the room. The table is covered in roots and herbs. Glass jars hold yellow and red colored candles. Bottles of liquid labeled Hoyts and Van Van sit behind a thick leather Bible. The old man walks over to the table and opens the Bible. "What I want you to do is to read the 21st Psalm. While you're doing this, I want you to light a candle and pray to Saint Expedite. Ask him to bring you good things, good luck, good health, good life." The young girl nods as she listens. And she nods as she listens probably because she knows these are all things that are familiar to her, right? She's gone to the person who can help. He gave her a solution that she recognizes, like, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And he sends her on her way. Now, here from the same book is a quote, because this is like in reaction to how commonplace this notion of a conjurer was in Memphis. So this is a quote that comes out of the Anniston Star 1937 newspaper in Memphis. The Anniston Star 1937. Arrest of a Negro conjurer tonight opened a police drive here against voodoo doctors who reportedly have been making large profits by selling mystic potions, guaranteed to accomplish practically anything desired by the buyer. Do I need to read that again? Because again, it talks to the practicality of hoodoo. There's an arrest of a Negro conjurer tonight. Opened a police drive here against voodoo doctors, right, which is another word for African religion, who reportedly have been making large profits by selling mystic potions, guaranteed to accomplish practically anything desired by the buyer. It's practical magic, y'all. Use what is in your environment for your good, for your protection, right? So, this whole book is just full of so much. And I'm just going to move it to the top of my TBR. I'm going to move it to the top of my to be read list here. I just see something right now. The African traditional religions are the indigenous spiritual faiths of the various ethnic groups throughout Africa. There are more than 3,000 different ethnic groups throughout Africa. Each ethnic group has its own religious system and spiritual beliefs. These religions are quite diverse and differ in their aesthetics, customs, and rituals. There are also a number of common elements found in African religions. Many of these form the basis of contemporary hoodoo and conjure practices. Some of the concepts include the following: belief in a supreme being, spirits of the dead, rituals and magic, the power of herbs, and it just goes on and on and on. So this is chapter 1, the diaspora. The diaspora. You can see that, but this is chapter 1, the diaspora, because it really gives shows how important it is that we were African people who were brought to another place, but still brought with us our African spiritual faith, diverse as we were. It wasn't like there's one African spirituality, but as diverse as we were as African people coming to this particular land and having to interact with the new plants of the United States. So, all that to say, all of that to say that during this time of reflection upon hoodoo and our hoodoo heritage, think about how clever and sophisticated our ancestors were as they devised systems for their well-being, for their survival, for their protection, right? Knowing how to use something as medicine or poison as the case demanded, knowing how to understand the natural world, because you have to have an understanding of the natural world to know what plants do what. That means you have the knowledge of a biologist, of a chemist, right? You have to have what we consider to be scientific kind of knowledge in order to work with plants. Botany, biology, pharmacology. These were our ancestors who were sophisticated enough to know all that, right? So honor our ancestors for that, and they passed that along to us. And as I said, as I ended the last video, I ended that last video by saying, are you the one in your family to continue these traditions? Are you the one in your family? Because a lot of us have lost the tradition or, think that it's evil or something that you can't touch. But if you're watching this channel, you're watching me, if you're learning from me, if you're learning from other people as well, maybe you're the one in the family. Don't hide from it. Don't be scared. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Remember, the resources are in the description box if you want to click on through. You'd be helping the channel. You'd be helping me out. If you want to get a consultation with me, there's a link there as well. I'm going to wrap this up. Bye for now.